to Touching Tornadoes. My name is Conrad, and I have bipolar 1 disorder with psychotic features. I had it yesterday, the day before. It's just something I got, and I woke up and I still had it today. So, because of that, I've been doing my daily mood journal live over the past few weeks to try to, one, just become better at the practice of journaling, and two, for most of us who have bipolar disorder, it seems like it's recommended quite a bit, the journaling and stuff like that. So I think that for me, it's just easier to say what I'm feeling sometimes. As a podcaster, as a person that likes to create content, it's much easier for me to put my feelings on video or vocalize them than it is to write them down. So today's no different, and it's the 12th of November, so hopefully you're having a good day. I'm in the middle of Kansas today, and it's beautiful out, so I'm doing it outside. So we're going to start like we always do with our gratitude check-in, and I'm just going to go through them with you, and we'll do this together. Share 3 things that you're grateful for this morning. So, what feels different or lighter today? Who or what has supported you the most in your growth lately? And what's something about your present self that you're learning to appreciate? What feels different or lighter today? Well, lately I've been working on staying in contact with either people who are in the mental health care field, and I'm trying to get myself in as a peer support therapist. So as far as feeling different, I feel like I've been taking the right approaches to getting myself into that position. Just doing these videos and being able to share my thoughts and experience with bipolar disorder with the staff at different facilities that I've met with that are higher in peer supporters. They asked me if I don't have any experience on helping people, but I've been, rather than hide the fact that I do this, I've just been like, this is my experience. I've got lived experience. Did I experience possession? Sorry, I'm getting a comment here from a friend. Did you experience possession? You mean like possession from like a demon or something? Is that what you're talking about? Because, yeah, dude, I had, they call it religiosity, I think. It's part of the grandiose, it's part of the grandiose ideas that we have as bipolar people who have psychosis, is you can get into these deep things feeling like, I felt like, just kind of, one of the things was that the Bible was like a living Bible, and that it was getting rewritten with me in it. You know what I'm saying? So one of my biggest delusions was I would think that what I was hearing, if it was like scripture or and I would be searching that stuff out, I would think that it was me in the story, and that the scripture was talking about me, and that my whole experience, or like what I was here for on earth, was to basically be a prophet of some kind, or make people realize that they're missing what's actually happening in the living Bible. And there were demons, and the first manic episode I had with psychosis, I lived in a town that had a devil as its mascot. So I was getting voices telling me that I needed to fight the devil, and so I actually, like, when I was doing my running, which it was a public track and a public stuff, but they had a middle logo or mascot logo of a devil, and I got I basically performed like a ceremonial dance. Luckily, nobody was like in the stands or anything, to try to rid myself of the devil. So, did I experience any possession? Yeah, it feels like that, man. But it's once I got on antipsychotics, once I broke away from that, those delusions and that feeling like the Bible was a living Bible and talking to me, finding myself in scripture, stuff like that went away the moment I got on antipsychotics. Now, the shame and the repercussion from weirding people out by that action, that's still in me. You know what I mean? Like, that's something I'm still getting over. So, yeah, I experienced a little bit of possession. But thank you, dude. I'm grateful for you commenting on that. If you guys got questions, just send a comment down here and I'll read them. Back to so I guess I just feel different because I don't come from the mental health world like as a job or as a career. And so instead of feeling like I don't belong, I've just been trying to show up to places that have interviewed me as if this is where I'm supposed to be. You know what I mean? Like, there's a reason I'm here in this office interviewing for a peer support role. There's a reason I went through those different experiences I had. So, and maybe the reason is that I'm supposed to be helping people some way. And right now, the only way I can help is by doing this. And so that's what I do. I've been, and luckily, every day when I feel like I don't have anybody watching or anybody commenting, somebody will say something, especially my friend Janice, and telling me that the videos help, and they help me. So, and I gotta do them. Did this thing scare you? You know what I mean? Like, hit up scary things in a dream. Yeah, it was frightening when I went through my mania. So there's people describe mania as a couple different ways, but for me, and it sounds like for you, brother, that it was a frightening moment. You know what I mean? Like, it felt like the voices were telling me to do things that I knew weren't right, and I had to fight basically those voices away and not let them win, because the part that lived somehow still within this reality knew that those voices weren't correct in what they were saying. But doesn't mean it didn't make me live it. It doesn't mean that didn't make me feel the feelings, So I got a message here that is in review. I'll click it. Future soldier touching what? Yeah, touching tornadoes, brother. I'm just trying to make what it feels like to go manic. It feels like you're riding a tornado or touching a tornado, but I don't know what DIH is, so I'll keep it. But we'll get back to our gratitude side of this daily mood journal, and I'm not only am I grateful for you guys commenting and those of you that watch this and say nice things about it. I'm grateful, obviously, for my wife and kids. My wife was great today, where she was giving me some advice on, what I should be doing. She knows that this is what I'm supposed to be doing, and she doesn't want me. We're going to talk about this in the main body of the show, about letting go of your past self. And so I'm just grateful for my wife for recognizing that I'm doing everything I can to move on from what I came from. Not that what I came from was all bad, but we're at I think we're transitioning into a different season of my life, and what's happened over the past few years with my diagnosis, you could say, is forcing it, or I'm just doing what I can to roll with the punches. But this is going to be kind of silly, but lately I've been pretty grateful for something that's pretty simple. I think it's because I took a break from it for a long time, which is just a homemade sandwich, dude. I know that sounds like, I don't know, simple, or who would want a homemade cheap sandwich, but for the lunch the past few days, all I've eaten is ham on cheap white bread with a little bit of mayo, and it's been great. So if you need something simple that's like a comfort food from childhood or something, make yourself a cheap ass ham and cheese sandwich. It's pretty good. I had to make a couple choices today about helping people, because I have a tendency to put myself back into this. Well, we'll get into that. Let's stay on topic. That's on letting go of the past. Let's go back into our daily mood journal. What's something about your present self that you're learning to appreciate? What's something about your present self that you're learning to appreciate? The biggest thing is that I'm learning that there's always, you can't have bad without good. You know what I mean? Like, there's no such thing as bad if there isn't good. And so the bad times that I've had recently, whether it be being hospitalized for a manic episode, or just the financial challenges that I'll be going through because of my manic episode, I get it that those are bad, but I think that the good in them is still yet to come. The good in them is me deciding I'm going to do my mood journals now, and then me decided I'm going to do them for people to watch. I'd already got to the point where it's like I want to show people my story, and I want to share my story because I think it can help, because so many other people's stories helped me, and that's why I decided to do this. But I think it's hard to appreciate that you have bipolar disorder. It's hard to be like something that you're grateful for, because so much bad can come with it, because you can put yourself in such a bad position that it feels like, and I'm not gonna say that it feels like there's no good to be found, but sometimes I think the good takes longer, or you're so worried about what happened you can't even see the good that's like right in front of you right now. And so that's what the gratitude is. You remind yourself what you're grateful right now, and that's a good way that you can appreciate it, is start with a gratitude and then move your way into it. So we're going to get into our mood journal, which is, how's my energy, my focus, my emotions today in comparison to yesterday? Well, if I'm comparing them to yesterday I kind of felt out of sorts. I felt definitely unseen, not by you guys, but just unseen, like I was getting a call from my brother who's trying to get me to do what I've always done. And it was like, don't you see what I'm trying to do here? I'm trying to move on, and they don't see it. And that's not their fault, but they're not living in the same world that I'm living in. So that's one of my emotions. My focus today is going to be on this, like doing what I know is good for me now, and if it doesn't, if what is asked of me doesn't align with basically my recovery or my ambition, then I won't do it. I can't get sucked back into that. So reflect on any triggers or thoughts that connected you to your old self. Well, I think that's what I've just been doing, is the thought of doing what I did for a career, the thought of being a snow removal person and jumping back into that life is a trigger for sure, because it can be pretty stressful. It doesn't, we made it that way probably, but I just don't think it's what I'm supposed to be doing, and I guess I'm grateful for the fact that some people don't have that choice. So that's why it also gets hard, because it's like, well, man, somebody needs your help. They're offering you money, and it's something that you know how to do. But then you're like, but it's something that I don't want to do. How do you say no to that? So, what emotions come up when you think about who you used to be? Are there any habits or thought patterns from the past that you notice creeping in? And how do you respond now compared to before your diagnosis or recovery? Well, when I think about who I used to be prior to diagnosis, it was like no regard for myself physically or mentally or what I was doing, because it was always go towards the goal, and the goal hasn't changed totally, just has shifted. The goal before I was diagnosed was to be a creator and be a podcaster, and I did that. I was doing that. And then I got sick, and once I got my first episode, it's been since then, a couple years now, that I've shifted totally into a different person than what I was pre-diagnosis. And there's a time there where you lose your identity. That's what it feels like. Like the illness becomes your identity. And then I feel like since my last episode of mania and hospitalization, since then, it's not only that I completely accepted that I have the disorder, and it's something that I will have to address on a daily basis and just be aware of on a daily basis to stay on a path to recovery. Before I was diagnosed and before I even knew that I had a thing, I had no self-check-in, no self-awareness, and now the difference is this, I try to be self-aware of it every day. And by doing that, it makes sometimes decisions that you used to say yes to, when they come up, you have to say no to them. And that's the hard part, because that's the difference that other people see. Let's go into, if I have to give my mood, I would say that today I'm a 5 out of 10. Are there any habits or thought patterns from the past that you notice creeping in? Oh, yeah, sometimes I have a bad habit of just worrying of, should I be letting this stuff out there? Should I just be, or should I, like, coming clean with myself, or I don't know how to, second guessing what I do, instead of just feeling confident that this is what I'm here to do. So That's one of my habits or thought forms I've been noticing creeping in. Like, I've been doing this mood journal for a few weeks now live. I like doing it. It makes me feel better, but because the response isn't as great as I'd want it to be, uh, it's like, should I even be doing this? I mean, I could just do these privately, and that's not what I think. I think that I should be here sharing. So I can't let that thought pattern stay. That's a negative thought. I've had those negative thought patterns probably my entire life. Like, you're not good enough. Um, you're wasting your time. You're not good enough. This was a waste of time. You're not a failure, but like sometimes it feels like that, like you're a failure because you're not as, even for me, I'm not as successful as I thought it would be, on different things. And that gets kind of silly because the things that really I'm the best at is probably being a dad and learning to be a better spouse. But the only times I've not been a good dad is when the boiled one. All right, brother. The only time I felt like I wasn't a good dad was when I was manic. Any of the times I was manic, and I had to basically separate myself from my family. I think I did all that subconsciously. I don't know. That's one of the parts I don't like to go back to. Discuss what past self means to you before diagnosis, during mania, or before sobriety. And I don't talk about that much. The fact that when I was diagnosed in 2023, I think, or 2024, I had decided to sober up. And for the most part, but people don't realize, people in my circle, I don't know if they realized how much, maybe they just don't know how to say anything, and they knew exactly how much I was drinking, but it was one of the things I was proud of the most, because I was drinking every night, and finally, once diagnosed and once realizing that maybe a big part of the thing I was doing with drinking was trying to get myself calm down. I used to drink when I did my podcast to like get you feeling up for it, is how I would describe it, and then drink on the show. Then at some point I heard myself drunk on a show, and I was like, I don't want to do that no more. I don't want to drink on my show. And so I saved my drinking for late at night when everybody was in bed. And once I did that, it just kept going. And I drank every night. I drank every night for probably like 10 years. And vodka was the drink of choice. And I think you'd have that 1.75 gallon bottle of vodka, 1.75 liters. I drink like a third of it a night for 10 years. Every 3 days or so, I'd have to get a new bottle of cheap $10 crappy alcohol. So I'm so different, I guess. I don't feel that much different from that person, but I feel much clearer. And so I think that it's all a combination, though. I think that my manic episode, my depressive episode, my diagnosis, all of that stuff has changed my life in such a way and flipped the people in my life that have either stuck around or left. You know, it's kind of flipped them out. So those who I thought would still be here with me, I don't hear from. And those who I didn't think would be here with me are the ones that are standing beside me. So it's kind of like, I don't know, they whacked out my mural, dude. The grief that comes with realizing that you've changed, how we sometimes cling to who we are because it feels familiar, learning to forgive yourself for past mistakes or episodes, and recognizing growth and how you handle life differently now. Learning to forgive yourself in past mistakes or episodes is one of the toughest things to do. Recognizing growth and how you handle life differently now. I think that's something that other people have to see more than you. It's kind of like if you work out every day for whatever, 6 months or something, and you don't see any changes in your body. It's because you're looking at the same body every day and you don't notice the difference, how big of a difference it can be. And really, it's the other person that you saw at a social event or something. Like, say you've seen somebody at Christmas and then you worked out every day until 4th of July, and that's the next time they saw you. To them, they're gonna be shocked. So I think my awareness, my self-awareness, my awareness of how my actions and how my mood and behavior and all that can affect my wife and family, and do have changed probably way more than I think they have, and for probably for the best. So recognize growth and how you handle it now. I'd say that's how my growth is. I do my best in handling life. I'm looking out for myself and for my family first. Like, but knowing that I have to look out and be the best version of me is the best way that I can look out for my family. If I bend or jump to a past version of myself to make everybody feel more comfortable, that's not going to serve me, because I'm going to regret that decision. And if I'm sitting in regret and wandering around in regret, I'm no good for anybody. So every version of me was doing the best that they could with what they had. But today I'm living with more awareness, and that's something I'm proud of. So we're going to end in affirmations. We do that. These are good for picking you up if you are down. Some people don't like affirmations. Emerson Church, you just like Greg, brother, and that's cool. I release the weight of who I used to be. I honor my past, but I live in the present. I am growing, healing, and becoming. I am growing, healing, and becoming. I honor my past, but I live in the present. I don't have to be who I was to be worthy of love. I don't have to be who I was to be worthy of love. What's one part of your past self that you're ready to let go of? If you have a comment for that, go for it. What's one part of your past self you're ready to let go of? Feeling guilty would be mine. Just feeling guilty for even wanting to get away from my past self. Sometimes I feel guilty for that. I don't know. Other than that, I think I'm doing I think we had a good show today. We did a gratitude check-in. We did our daily mood journal. We talked a lot about letting go of my past self. And we did our affirmations. So if you guys want to comment what's one part of your past self that you're ready to let go of, go for it. I'll be here tomorrow, so I've been here every day for a few weeks talking to those of you who are bipolar or on the bipolar journey, and to those of you who just might know somebody who is, or you just like watching people talk. Either way, I'll be here tomorrow to talk live, so thank you guys for watching, thank you guys for commenting, and have a great day. Be good to yourself. Don't let your meatloaf.